Tell me if this one's happened to you before. You approach, they pincer, you know this Joseki, you go into the 3-3, they block you here, you push up here, and they hane. Wow! Why? Why do they always hane here? You know the Joseki is to extend. Then black can play the hane, the connect, and the jump, and the result is fair for both. And yet, for some reason, nobody seems to do this at the Q level, and many people even don't do that at the Dan level. Instead, they play the hane, which is a mistake. It's a well-known mistake, but the punish is less well-known. This Joseki is the one I have been asked about the most in all my years of teaching. I've been asked dozens of times to cover this Joseki for my students, and today I will put the darn trick to bed. There's two ways to punish it. It's an overplay, this white move, but there's an easy way and a hard way to punish. We're going to start with the easy way. I recommend this method for anyone between 15Q and 2 Dan. If you're below 15Q, don't learn Joseki. Just play the game. Play the game, do Sumego, and you'll improve. But anyone between 15Q and 2 Dan should know this. This move is an overplay. This hane is an overplay. That means it's trying to do too much and leaving behind too many weaknesses. Particularly, it leaves behind the cut. And the two things it's trying to do is capture the one black stone on the bottom side and block the white shape on the top side. So the natural punish that you would think of when I tell you this move is too much, it leaves behind a cut that's too bad, is to take the cut, right? But this does not work. This is not the easy way. This is getting tricked for black. The problem is white can play the hane here and the connect. Then, if black tries to capture the one stone which white did not defend, black realizes suddenly that the two stones have a new cutting point. They're actually going to be the ones that are dead. This is how you can get tricked when you play the Joseki. Do not cut first. Before you play the cut, you have to bait white to overplay again. You can play the descend here. What this is saying is, hey, white, are you really sure you can block the top side and keep my one stone disconnected from the corner? And if white says, yes, I'm sure, now that's a second overplay, that's too much. Now it's time to cut, and one of the white groups will die. If white protects this side, you can play the hane. And these three white stones are captured. They cannot run to the side because you can play the wedge. You can check it for yourself. Feel free to pause the video. The three white stones are dead. So white may instead try to defend the three stones on the side. They may try to Atari here and play the tiger's mouth. Then black can just eat the one stone in the corner, and this result is much, much better than the standard Joseki. You can see black's territory is much larger, even their influence to the left side is much larger, and white's shape on the bottom side is much weaker. So white should not play 12. It's an overplay, and if you cut, it should be pretty easy to capture either side. There's only one trick remaining that I didn't tell you about, which is this hane. Feel free to pause the video and think about how you should respond to this hane. The answer is pretty simple. You simply capture the three stones on the bottom. You may wonder, hey, but my stones in the corner, aren't they low on liberties? It's 3-3. Aren't I going to lose the liberty race? The problem for white is they have no way to fill your liberty because they have their own cut at b5 here that they need to tend to. If they try to push and hane, fill your liberties, then you can cut there and capture their aggressive stones. This would be terrible for white. So we're sure now this cut is capturing something, then white should not allow that. If they want to play properly, they should play the connect here, and you get to connect to your stone on the side in comparison to the normal Joseki, where you take a position on the left and white gets influenced to the bottom. This one is pretty similar, but it's a little bit better for black. So this Joseki is never going to be bad for black, but sometimes it's not that good either. That's why we have the hard way. But first, before we dive into the hard way, let's recap. White plays the hane. It's an overplay, but we aren't going to punish it yet. We're going to descend. Then we wait for them to overplay again. If they play the descend here, blocking us from the side, we're ready to strike. We can cut, and one of the two white groups will die, either the three stones on the bottom or the one stone in the center. When white protects that cut instead, we can link up to our stone and always be satisfied. Now, the hard way. This one I only recommend for players who are 3 dan and up. There's no real need to know this one. It's going to be much more complicated and gain only a small advantage over the easy way, but it is objectively better and is what I would do if I were faced with this position in a game. Instead of playing the descend, we can get a better position, presuming that white will trade, by playing the hane. What I mean is, if white realizes that they're overplaying and connects here, then black can now spend their next connecting move here, rather than the move in the corner. This is a better outside shape for black. It allows us to put more pressure on that one stone of white's on the bottom side later on. So it's a very slight gain if we play the hane instead of the descend first. However, it comes with much more complicated punishment if white decides to play the second overplay again. White can play the hane and the connect, so to cut that one black stone on the bottom, and black will usually need to continue with the cut. But in this case, because we drove the white stones closer to their friend, it's harder to punish this white overplay. First of all, you need a ladder. When you cut here, if white plays here and white has the ladder, let's say white has a stone somewhere over there, then black cannot fight. If black tries to make a direct double threat, running out this one stone, putting pressure on the bottom white and the left side white, white can protect the bottom and still manage to run out with the left. Black becomes in trouble in the corner a lot of the time. So this variation is not good for black. Black needs to be able to play the block here. You see, what black is aiming for when they play this version of the Joseki is not a double threat to capture either side, but a threat to capture the left and to make a liberty problem for white on the bottom. However, in this case, if white would have the ladder, white could play the Atari now, and then black can only play Atari here. The white influence is actually pretty good here, and black's shape on the bottom side is pretty annoying to be pressed down to the first line. It means black is not locally alive. So this shape, we consider it to be good for white. That means if you play this way, the hane connect the hard way, and then you cut, you need the ladder. If you don't have the ladder and you do this, you can only play the jump instead. Now white cannot press down here, because then when you cut, white can no longer make a ladder threat. You've taken the stone which white was playing to make a ladder threat. And if white saves this way, then you can continue to make the liberty pressure or killing threat on the left side. This will work perfectly fine. That's why white needs to just pull back here, and you can block like this. Anyone who's playing the hard way should know that forcing white to have made the pushing exchange into the standard Joseki is a worthwhile gain. Of course, though, is not that good of a gain, and if we have the ladder, we would prefer not to do that. So if you have the ladder, you should cut. Then, if white plays here, and you block here, when white plays this one, you can just run that stone out, and you will have either a liberty problem for white on the bottom side, or a problem for white on the left side, living problem, surrounding problem. Well, what if white tries to protect now against the black connection under? What if white tries the hane connect, gives themselves a route back, and then saves the left side? In this case, black should play their forcing moves, force white to save on the left. You can play this one as well, don't forget it. And then play the peep and net. This is why the hard way works, because white cannot break through this net on the outside. White can only use the doggy door back to the bottom side. Then when white allows black to just connect here, eventually black needs to fill the liberties so that the shape in the corner will not die because you have the 1 cente Atari. Black ends up with an influence on the outside and the corner territory. This Joseki is normally supposed to go where black takes the corner territory and white gets the influence on the outside. So obviously when the influence switches from white to black, this variation much too good for black. This is the most common way to punish your opponent who overplays when you play the hard way. It doesn't have to be exactly this order of moves, but however, if they try to make that kind of shape, you can make the net on the bottom side stones to punish them. Let's say they instead played Atari here and then played here, you can do the same thing. Block here, cause them a problem. If they play the descend instead of the hane, then you can still make the same sente, play the peep, and play the net. And now, because they didn't hane, they don't even have a door out. The weight stones are actually just dead. Okay. So let's say they play on this side. Well, this is just like the easy way you can capture here. Let's say they play the extend here first, and when this one happens, they play this one. Okay, then this kind of thing we can always just connect here, and because white shape is so bad, the fighting is clearly good for black, even though you don't manage to capture anything. Even if white plays here and actually like has that ladder, they don't. You should be able to save that stone, but it would still be good for black even if they did. So the premise of the hard way, when you cut here and you have the ladder, you will be able to descend and make a liberty problem for white where you can make a net, or you can capture the one stone on the other side. If you don't have the ladder, then white can extend here. So instead of playing the cut, you need to play the jump. In fact, if you don't have the ladder, you can consider to just play the easy way instead of the hard way. I think it's totally fine as well. Now, some people get confused at this point. What happens when white plays maybe the connect? In this case, when you answer here, white just made a cutting exchange inside your own territory. It's clearly good for you. What happens when white plays the jump? In this case, you can play even the cut here directly, or you could play just descend here, because white shape is in so many cutting points and so much tattered disaster, it can't possibly be bad for black to play this kind of fighting. But if you aren't comfortable with that, you shouldn't play the hard way. Just play the easy way. You don't need to have to go for some kind of fighting just because your opponent played the hane and they should be punishable. You can just wait. It's totally fine. This one too, you need to play the cut now, and then if white extends here, then you have the Atari, and capture these two stones. You could play another Atari if you wanted. Okay, so to summarize, once again, the easy way was to just descend after the hane and try to bait them into overplaying again where you can capture them cleanly. The hard way, instead to hane and connect, then we cannot capture them cleanly, but we can get a better fight than the easy way if we have the ladder and if they do not protect their cut in the center. All right, thank you for watching. This has been the destruction of the hane after the pincer. I'm going to keep this up until the ends of time, so I never have to explain it again. I can just link the video instead. However, in more time-sensitive matters, I am playing in a tournament tomorrow. It's a Pokemon-themed tournament. It's going to be live streamed on Twitch by me and by Book Club, I believe. It's going to be loads of fun. My first round opponent is, I believe, the tournament favorite, but I won our last match. So it's going to be a great match. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye-bye.